This is unbelievable. Qualified NFL insiders are urging the New York Jets to trade for a former first overall pick to be the next starting quarterback after Aaron Rodgers, and we got to break this down. So what's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Jets Digest. Before we hop into the video today, only 20.4% of viewers are subscribed to the channel. So if you are not subscribed, please take a second, hit the subscribe button. It really helps me and Chris out a ton. But hopping into who we got today, it's none other than Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray, 2018 first overall draft pick. 2018 Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, the quarterback drafted by the Arizona Cardinals directly after firing Stephen Wilks as their head coach. Stephen Wilks, of course, now being the defensive coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals. Always remember, you could be a good defensive coordinator without being a good head coach. That's what we believe we have in Stephen Wilks. But Kyler Murray, obviously, highly dynamic player, can throw the ball, can run the ball. People are forgetting how athletic this guy is because he recently had that torn ACL where it was late in the season. So he needed time that season, obviously, to recover, and the next season hurt him as well. But he is coming back, and he is going to be reverting back into his former self when he was younger in the league and lighting up the league. But let's see what Sports Illustrated has to say about Kyler Murray. He's dynamic and his contract is reasonable at this stage. $18 million base salary in 2025, $22.8 million in 2026, and $19.5 million in 2027. The Cardinals would incur a $10.7 million dead cap hit in 2025 if they cut him, or they could trade him to replenish some draft capital. If the Cardinals did opt to trade Kyler Murray, the New York Jets would make sense. So Kyler Murray, a guy who, like I said before, he's a dynamic threat. He's someone who can throw the ball and run the ball. The problem with him is he is short. People like to make fun of him like he's a short human being in general. Obviously, he's just NFL short, but the problem is he can't see over his offensive line over the middle of the field. But even with that shortcoming, he's still been able to put up some pretty impressive stats, which we're going to take a look at right here. You could see, as a rookie, 3,700 yards, then ups that to pretty much 4,000 yards as a sophomore in his sophomore season, then 3,800 yards again. And then 2022 is when he tore that ACL. So 2022, 2023, his stats aren't that good passing yards wise. 2024, he bounced back right back to where he's been for his career. He's about a 4,000 passing yards per year guy. Although this doesn't tell the whole story on a guy like Kyler Murray. If you remember him in Oklahoma, he's running all over the yard. And in the NFL, he's doing the same thing. He's extending plays. He's a nightmare to tackle. He's really tough to sack. His rushing yards, before he tore his ACL, 2019, 544 yards. 2020, 819 rushing yards. That's a lot of yards. 2021, 420 rushing yards. So this is a guy who is able to do it with his arm and with his legs. The problem is he has only made the playoffs one time. He lost that only playoff game that he's made. So is this the guy? That's the question you got to ask yourself, because obviously he's a good quarterback. The question is he a great quarterback? Is he someone who can take the Jets to that next level should they go ahead and trade for him? Obviously, I don't know why the Sports Illustrated would even mention the dead cap of Kyler Murray, because there's a 0% chance that this player gets cut. Currently, he's the franchise quarterback, and you always ask yourself, a lot of the times when we get reports like this, when people are talking about franchise quarterbacks changing spots, it's a ridiculous name. It's someone that you're looking at and going, yeah, that guy's never moving anywhere. But Kyler Murray certainly feels like a more realistic option to change teams because he's fallen short of expectations. He's been pretty good, but he was drafted first overall. The Cardinals were expecting to get a franchise-altering talent with Kyler Murray, and that's not what he's been through his career so far. Yes, he is far better than what you're going to find in the draft this year. He's far better than anything else you're going to find in the trade market other than him. And you're not going to be able to pick up a free agent quarterback better than Kyler Murray. Should he be available in the trade market, he would be the number one trade option. It would be him, and there's a lot of rumbling about Matthew Stafford being available for trade because he is not owed enough money this season, and he believes he's played higher than the contract that he's due to get paid. So Matt Stafford wants more money, and if the Rams are not willing to give Matt Stafford that money, Matt Stafford would then be available for trade. The reason why Kyler Murray is more lucrative to teams than a Super Bowl champion winning quarterback in Matt Stafford is Kyler Murray is almost 10 years younger than Matt Stafford. Kyler Murray is only 27 years old, so he has more room to grow in the league. And Kyler Murray strikes me as a guy that if you put him in the right type of offense, he could turn into the quarterback that a lot of analysts thought he could be and who the Cardinals thought he could be when they drafted him first overall in 2018. So he needs an offense that is predicated mostly to throwing the ball to the sidelines because he has a strong arm. He can make all those outbreaking throws that is tougher for some quarterbacks to throw if their arm isn't as strong. However, you can't throw a lot of stuff over the middle of the field. One of the things that has been brought up with Kyler Murray and him potentially being able to be traded is the fact that he wasn't able to develop chemistry this year with their first overall pick, Marvin Harrison Jr. Marvin Harrison Jr. was seen as a developmental prospect, a generational prospect in the draft this year for some reason, because I don't know, it looks like the other receiver drafted 2 spots after him was going to be just as good, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong on that. So the problem with Marvin Harrison is the Cardinals run him with a ton of X wide receiver type routes. They run him on dig routes. They run him on post routes. They run him on stuff over the middle of the field. But as we've already discussed in this video, Kyler Murray is too short to see over his offensive line. He can't see the middle of the field. So they're not a good fit together. Marvin Harrison Jr. and Kyler Murray, honestly, they're not even that bad of a fit. The way the Cardinals are using Marvin Harrison Jr. turns him into a bad fit for the team. They have to actually use Marvin Harrison Jr. like he is a guy that they drafted in their first round and not like Gabe Davis. Right now, it actually blows my mind. Like I was telling people Malik Neighbors was going to be better than Marvin Harrison Jr., but I don't want it to happen like this. The Cardinals got to get their head on straight. Let's bring this back to the Jets. Kyler Murray, the point is, Kyler Murray, it is absolutely a realistic expectation for him to be available for trade. Now, is it likely that he's going to be available for trade? No. It's probably only a 28% chance, 30% chance that he's going to be available. But the way the New York Jets can open the door is by offering a package that intrigues the Arizona Cardinals. So obviously, if the New York Jets are going to go ahead and try to trade for a franchise quarterback, it's going to take the first round pick this year. It's going to take more draft capital in the future. The question is, do you have to give up your first round pick next year in 2026? I believe that they could get away with hanging on to the first round pick next year, but it's going to cost at the bare minimum the 7th overall pick this year, probably some later picks this year as well, and then the 2nd and 3rd round pick in 2026. That's the baseline of what Kyler Murray is going to cost. Yes, he's on that big contract, that big teams want to win on the quarterback when he's on his rookie deal, and Kyler Murray is no longer on that deal. He's on a more expensive contract, so that's going to drive down his value a little bit, but NFL teams covet the guys that they've already seen can play in the NFL. Maybe he hasn't played at the highest level yet, but they know he's not a bust. So Kyler Murray going to be coveted. The Arizona Cardinals, they're going to go ahead and ask for 2 first-round picks, and that might be what the New York Jets are going to have to trade them to get this trade done. But if they don't want to do that, or if the Arizona Cardinals do not budge on that 2 first-round pick price tag, the New York Jets can always negotiate getting something else back, getting maybe 2 4th-round picks back. So maybe it would be 2 first-round picks for Kyler Murray and 2 4th-round picks. So that would lessen the blow of those firsts going out a little bit. But if the New York Jets trade 2 first-round picks and Kyler Murray comes back and he is the answer that the Jets have been looking for, you don't care about the first-round picks. We just watched, we've just seen the Houston Texans. They traded away. They drafted a rookie quarterback and traded away their first overall pick or their first round pick the following year, which seems like a really, really bad idea because you don't know how the rookie quarterback's going to play. But CJ Stroud played tremendously well and it worked out really well. And no one cares that they traded away that first round pick because they got a really good prospect in the drafts in Will Anderson. I know they didn't trade that pick for CJ Stroud. So the New York Jets, if they trade for Kyler Murray, he is going to be expensive, even though he has 0 playoff wins, even though he only has 1 playoff appearance. He is going to be expensive because we just watched Jalen Hurts, a mobile quarterback, a guy who can run the ball and throw the ball, so who took his team to win a championship. So mobile quarterbacks are in the highest demand in the NFL that they've ever been. You just just being a running quarterback isn't enough. You have to make sure you are a dual threat quarterback. But going over how many passing yards Kyler Murray averages per year and how many passing yards he should have if he comes to the New York Jets, throwing to a guy like a Garrett Wilson, who is a really, really good wide receiver who is going to fit Kyler Murray better, because Garrett Wilson is a guy you can move around. You can put him in motion, you can put him in the slot, and he can move around all over the field, which is not what the Cardinals did with Marvin Harrison this year. And it's not really what they did with DeAndre Hopkins either when Kyler Murray had D-Hop, because DeAndre Hopkins is another he's a pure X wide receiver. You're not really putting DeAndre Hopkins in the slot. Yes, he can play the slot, but they weren't really doing that. Garrett Wilson can play wherever you want to line him up. Garrett Wilson can be an elite wide receiver if you give him a good quarterback like Kyler Murray. So I do think Kyler Murray would be a much better option than the NFL draft, the other trade quarterback options, and obviously free agency for the New York Jets. But we're going to see what Aaron Glenn and Darren Mougey want to decide to do in this offseason. They still have a ton of decisions, ton of things to work out. And quarterback, obviously, the number one thing that everyone wants to know. And here is just another option that we got on that. But that's what I got for you guys today. So if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new. And as always, go Jets.